All right, Chukwudokelu Uwaja is right here with us, and it's time to welcome him to Newspaper Review. Chukwude, good morning.
How are you, Claire? Good morning.
We're very well, thank you.
And how's the household?
We're doing fine, thank God.
My dear, how are you doing?
Very well, Chukwude.
Very well. Today is going to be hot. I better leave you alone. Good morning.
Okay, yeah, you have two papers. So.
All right, let's quickly see what the papers have this morning. We begin with the New Telegraph. And the lead story here says banditry. Niger governor issues bomb alerts, urges farmers to stay away from farms. The write-up, to avoid IEDs planted by bandits, says military must clear suspected mine-leading areas before locals can move safely. You want to find out all the details. Page 3 would guide you. Above that, Senate reps begin 49.7 trillion naira budget defense today. That's on pages 2 and 4. Obi alleges threats to life over criticism of federal government. All right, that's on page 3. 1 dies, 3 injured as explosion rocks Abuja school. All the details on pages 4 and 27 of the New Telegraph. And we have Canada's Prime Minister, Justin Trudeau, resigns. That's on page 6. All right, let's look below the picture story now. We have here Senator Kalu Tinubu right to have ignored IMF, World Bank recommendations. The writer says we must use homegrown policies to solve our economic problems, and that's on page 2. All right, Army uncovers 20 illegal refineries, arrest 11 operators in 4 states. That's also right here. Alleged fraud, EFCC dismisses 27 officers. All right, you want to see that. That's on page 2. And finally, from the front page of the New Telegraph, we have how family planning prevents stunted growth. Okay, interesting headline. You want to see what that is about. Let's quickly look at the Blueprint newspaper now. The Blueprint leads with Presidential Committee on Tax Reforms. We wrote 6 governors, only Uba, Sani, Sanwo-Olu met us. More revelations as regards the tax reforms, and the writer says others have no time for us. Governors Forum invited us, cancelled appointments 4 times. That's according to Oladele. All right, away from the tax reforms issue, we have 2025 budget. Senate to suspend plenary for 2 weeks on resumption. The National Assembly sets January 31 as tentative date for passage. Away from that, we have a picture here of pupils of Community Primary School Ijegu on the assembly ground as they resume after Christmas and New Year holidays. Of course, happy resumption to all the children going back to school now. And then below that, we have Abuja school explosion kills 2 students, injures 4. Not a good story. Police confirm 18 injured in Port Harcourt gas explosion. Away from all of that, we have EFCC dismisses 27. Of course, that's on all the papers this morning. Already read that. We'll move on to police arrest 50 suspected vandals in Abuja. That's on page 7. And finally, the Ibadan Stampede update on his ex-queen. Agidigbo boss principal must face trial. That's according to Oyo State government. All right. Okay, there's this one story just at the top of the masthead. I killed Okada rider, sold machine for 310,000 naira in Niger. That's according to suspect. And of course, that's a pointer to why we're having the topic we're having this morning as our discussion on Good Morning Nigeria. So that's all on the papers I have.
Well, the Nigerian pilot has very, very depressing stories on its front page this morning, and it's all about killings, banditry, and all not. In fact, the front page is brutal bandits. About 4, riders there talking about the attack in Damboa LGA of Borno State, and other stories. Of course, Henry has read out, but let me just take out 2 or so. IGP reassures of safety as police nab 17 suspected murderers in Ebonyi. Troops neutralized criminal gang who killed 4 soldiers in River State. It's also there. And of course, there's disengaged staff members. So CBN demand 30 billion naira for compensation. And 80 bandits killed in 5 major joint security operations in Katsina. I think I'll just stop at that. Other stories, GMN has already, taken them from the papers. Chukwudi, if you're with us.
Let me quickly talk about the one I feel should be a lesson to our leaders on the continent. Handsome Justin Trudeau of Canada.
Oh, yeah.
He says, there's no point going on. The internal rebellion within my own party is so obvious that in the elections that are coming, coming up in the future, I'm not likely to be the the candidate of the party. It is better I bow out. I think
he read the handwriting and did the right thing to do.
The right thing to do. That's the point.
Yes, one thing.
No sit-tightism.
Resignation for government officials outside of our continent.
Yes.
It's like come and go. Yes. I mean, they don't see it as any big deal.
It's not a big deal to them.
It's not a big deal.
If I'm no longer acceptable, there's no point staying on. Here, we think that it is do or die.
It's like we all know. Take a bow when the ovation is loudest.
Loudest. That's it. So that history can be kind to you at least.
Precisely.
You talked about, or you alluded to the seeming orgy of violence across, it is not just right what is happening to us. Too much homicide, homicide happening all over the place. Now, let's quickly talk about the Boko Haram attack on a military base. Now, this is not like one of those ambushes. We say, oh, our troops are really, in harm's way. Mm-hmm. They came deliberately to attack the base. So that means that we should always be in a state of readiness towards such attacks. Because the impression here, the report here is that some soldiers were killed. Why would we not be able to ward off such people? Was it that the military base was undermanned, in terms of the number of people there? Whatever it is, all these questions are going because of the safety of our troops. This is not quite palatable.
The heavily armed group of terrorists stormed the forward operating base.
That's it.
That's FOB Sabongeri, engaging Nigerian troops in a brutal 2-hour firefight. We've so far recovered over 7 bodies, and many others are still missing, a source revealed. There are numerous casualties, and the camp suffered extensive damage. Nigerian pilot is reporting that during the attack, several military vehicles, buildings were set on fire by the assailants, underscoring the group's growing ability to inflict damage. The incident highlights increasing, particularly after the death of whatever, and so on and so forth.
Yes.
You say, again, I don't like that our men are caught unawares, off guard. This is not in the character of the training of the military. Like, a Boy Scout, you know the motto of Boy Scout, be ready at all times.
Yes.
That because we are fighting, on all fronts. On all fronts.
Yes.
We are engaging terrorists, we are engaging bandits, we are engaging, all sorts of people who want to see, that Nigeria is hot. So our fighting men must always be on the alert. Sometimes you see them, at, duty posts, even around, and they don't even care what is going on around them. And I want to take for an example, if you're coming from Nyanya and you get to the Karu Bridge, there's a military post there. Right in front of that military post, you find all sorts of activities going on there.
Going on around them. That's the point. There should be a margin of safety, a space between them and those people. Yes. They shouldn't just allow civvies to be so close to them.
Sometimes you see heaps, bags, plastic bags around, and I'm wondering, what if something planted in that?
I was going to say, please don't be harsh on our troops.
No.
But this Nyanya example you just gave, yes. I see it on a daily basis. And I actually agree with you. Yes, the military sometimes they want to show you they're friendly people, but it should not be at the cost of their life or a possible injury to them and all that.
Yes.
You never know who's who.
Precisely.
You never know who's
Precisely.
who.
It's unfortunate, and our hearts, go to the families of those who lost their lives, and of course to the Nigerian army. I'm one very great supporter of the Nigerian army.
I still remember your wonderful report.
From Maiduguri. We went there. We saw what they do. We saw them.
I think you saw them during Christmas period, because we were talking about people who were wishing their loved ones. That report. It really endeared you to my heart.
We actually went to the front line, and we saw the men. We went to the hospitals. We saw wounded soldiers.
It was a wonderful report.
Soldiers who were hurt by mines, and I that's why I really don't hesitate to in support of our military men, and we must give them the support. We must really show that, look, no matter the weakness, I mean, fine. Even the superpowers do get this kind of infiltration.
I get carried away by that report. One of my BBC trainers, I think it was Russell Pisgood, not Max Easterman. It was Russell Pisgood. He talked about how you need to humanize a situation sometimes. You humanized what is usually seen as a hard military life and all that. I will never forget that report.
Thank you, Chief.
I really wish our men in uniform well. Obviously, they were outnumbered. From what I can
I'm sure that the Chief of Army Staff,
it was more of an outpost, not really the military base as you know it. They would not dare go to that kind of
I'm sure
place.
the authorities will come out with the statement.
IED in Abuja school.
I think we confuse Abuja and outskirts of Abuja.
No, when we say Abuja, let's clear something up. There is a reference by civil servants, FCT. Now that FCT, by implication, is now being called Abuja. It is stretching semantics. But I know what you're talking about. Abuja Metropolis is not Kubwa.
FCC.
Abuja Metropolis is not Abaji. That's what you're saying.
Yes, the FCC is Federal Capital City. That's Abuja. FCT is the Federal Capital Territory. Yes. This incident happened in Buhari.
Yes.
A local government, within
the FCT.
Yes.
Okay, let me simplify it. I read linguistics. Now, if you ask somebody who lives in Kubwa, at Ihiala, during the holidays, where do you live?
Abuja.
The person will tell you they're in Abuja. That is extended meaning. That's what they're talking about.
Yes,
do you understand?
Yes, I agree. But because we should know, the newspapers, a part of our duty is to educate and inform. So we must situate.
Exactly. The accuracy is very important.
Very important.
Particularly when we are talking about things like this. Because when you say the bomb went off in Abuja, that Norwegian who wants to come and invest in Nigeria, bombs are even going off in the capital city. So that's
anyways, it doesn't matter where it takes place. A bomb explosion in schools or anywhere is something that we should watch and prevent the occurrence. This is very saddening, knowing that some students actually died in this particular attack.
Be careful there. This account says it was two of the people who brought the IEDs that died. So accuracy on the part of reporters is very
another
important.
paper here says 2 students.
Yes, that's what you saw.
But happening in a school.
School.
It's not a good one at all.
That is
for the proprietor to be arrested.
Yes.
There is suspicion. Collusion. Let's leave it there.
Anyway.